This is a book talk tutorial about one of my favorite books. I mean, I know I've said that already, but it just is, of To Kill a Mockingbird. I chose to write I chose to talk about this book because it really was amazing. It's an amazing book. And I know it's very controversial. I know a lot of people from the American community, they object to this book, and I think it even contains the N word, and it contains things that people would find offensive. But I think people who find this book offensive, they have to kind of really be careful. As a Muslim, and boy, do I know about offensive books. The beauty of the society we live in is that there is freedom of speech. And when you try to curtail it too much, okay, when you try to curtail it, when you try to censor things too much because they offend you, you run the risk of, I think, driving a lot of feelings underground. And I think people have to be very careful. This is not a book that is actually, the audience for this book is not African Americans. It's for white people. In its own way, it's kind of a little bit like Uncle Tom's Cabin. And I talked about a little bit about Uncle Tom's Cabin when I was talking about Monster by Walter D. Myers. This is a book that is really, the audience is for white people. And it's about a guy who knows he's going to fail. Atticus Finch knows that he's going to fail, but he does it. He fights the good fight anyway. And on that merit alone, it's worthy of the canon of literature. Okay, uh, I mean, a lot of people could argue that it's condescending towards black people, and I agree, completely. It's condescending. Tom Robinson in the story, it's really a story about the white people swooping down to save the black people. Okay, and how many stories are there out there like that? I think they all started with Huck Finn by Tom Sawyer, which is another book I loved. But yes, it has problems also with the African American community. I mean, I understand why people get upset by the book, but at the same time, it's a good book. It's a good story, and you can't fault that. You just can't fault that. I mean, with any good story, there's going to be flaws, and yeah, there are flaws in the book. I mean, Atticus is basically perfect. There's really nothing wrong with him at all. I don't think there's one flaw that he has, uh, and yet the story is told through Scout's perspective. I mean, Scout, the girl on the cover, she's like this tomboy, and her and her brother, and then there's Boo Radley and all that, all the other characters in there. A lot of people already know a lot of information about the story. There is a movie out there on it, and I think it was Gregory Peck. Yeah, Gregory Peck, who played Atticus, and I loved it the first time I watched it, but I have to admit now, going over it, I think it's actually he kind of comes across a little bit pompous. I think there's a fine line between noble and pompous, so you kind of have to be careful. But I I think people who object to the book, maybe I'm going to get myself into trouble with this. I hope not, because what I'm trying to explain, and the thing is, from a Muslim perspective, I know offensive books. There's lots of stuff that's written about Muslims that is like immensely popular in mainstream culture, and I just think it's a piece of crap. And I'm sure there are a lot of African Americans who feel that viscerally against this book too. But at the same time, okay, the stuff about the stuff towards African Americans, that about Tom Robinson, even Calpurnia in the story, they are condescending. But that's the perspective of the main character, Scout. It's the perspective that she tells the story from. And the fact is, a lot of people, a lot of white people reading this story, they won't even pick up on it. They might not even pick up on the fact that so many of the things are really actually a little bit condescending. It's kind of like watching that movie. There was a movie called, what was it, Key Largo? Yeah, the one with Edward G. Robinson, and he's some gangster, and he's holed up with Humphrey Bogart and Lauren Bacall in this hotel in Key Largo. And like uh, wherever there was a darky, like, okay, the black guy in To Kill a Mockingbird, Tom Robinson, he gets killed trying to escape. it's like the black guy, the black characters, the darkies are always they're dispensable. Okay. And when they're callously killed, like when Tom Robinson is killed trying to escape, it's sad, but it's like, okay, it's like understandable or something like that to white people. That is what I think one of the biggest things I found really offensive about the book. But even then, okay, even then the book works as a story about Atticus and about all through Scout's eyes. Um, and even like in Key Largo, like the Seminole Indians, they get killed out of some because of the meanness of the gangster and all that kind of stuff. And it's just awful. And it's funny because it actually took a zombie movie. And I'm not a fan of zombie movies, except I did like Shaun of the Dead. But they took a zombie movie, Dawn of the Dead, in the 70s. That was the first movie that didn't kill off the black guy. Okay. There is like, oh, there's a lot. Just think of what that says. Just think of that, what that says, where the black guy is always going to get killed in the movie. Like even like remember Alien with Sigourney Weaver? The black guy's going to get it. Okay, they always get it. They're one of the first to die, and I just think that says a lot about the systemic racism in North America. That this is actually it became like a joke. It's like a standard a kind of joke. And even in some of the rapper lyrics, they refer to this, okay? They refer to this. Now, with To Kill a Mockingbird, though, I think that the quality of the prose, it's beautifully written. And for literature, most literature is not funny, but it actually has its moments where it's hilarious. It is absolutely hilarious. And I especially love the interaction with Maud. I thought Maudie, she's a very entertaining character, and you know the idea that it might not appeal to young students. Uh, with one of my, I have 4 children, and one of my twin daughters, she was in grade 8, and she was having a hard time with her English and everything like that. And my oldest daughter, one summer, I decided that I was going to hire my oldest daughter to tutor her in English. And so my oldest daughter is so cute. She took it very seriously, and she said, "Okay, I'm going to put up together an ISL, like an independent study unit, and all that kind of stuff." And she asked me what book to use for my daughter. Now the thing is, a lot of the time, teachers would choose some high low book, a high interest, low vocabulary kind of book for a reluctant reader like that. Now, to illustrate the strength of this book, I chose To Kill a Mockingbird. And my oldest daughter said, "Really, Mom? You want me to do To Kill a..." I said, "Yeah, I think To Kill a Mockingbird." And because the thing is, again, I think you have to raise the bar. Okay, you have to, you know that the book is worth reading. You know that at the end of it, that student is going to have a vicarious experience that's going to change them and fundamentally change them. And definitely To Kill a Mockingbird did that with me. In fact, it did it with me so much that I actually have read it dozens of times. Well, maybe not dozens, but lots. I've read it a number of times, and I went and bought the book because I loved it so much. So the thing is, okay, I chose To Kill a Mockingbird, and my grade 8 daughter at the time, she was like 13, and she started reading it. She said, "Oh, Mom, oh, this is too hard, this is too hard." She couldn't, she was absolutely livid. And I said, "No, no, it's not that hard, it's not that hard." So what I did is I sat down and I read the first chapter to her. And as she heard the cadence of my reading, she picked up on the rhythm of the prose. And once she picked up the rhythm of the prose, and she also realized the humor, because the first chapter is hilarious. I'll never forget the simile she uses about the ladies in this small little town after it's very hot. I think it's in Alabama, and by the afternoon, they take showers in the morning, and by afternoon they have an icing of sweat and sweet talcum powder, because they would be putting talcum powder. So it became like an icing on them. And I thought, that visual, oh, that is just, oh, exquisite. Okay, it's just exquisite. And a lot of the language in here is like that. I also thought it was really interesting, Atticus's interaction with his younger brother, who comes and he actually swats Scout and Jem, and there's corporal punishment in there and everything like that. And I kind of liked that growing up because, you know, I used to get swatted every once in a while too, and it was just a normal thing in my life. So the whole book is written just with a lot of honesty, and that's so refreshing. It's just so refreshing. And so what happened was with my daughter, so I assigned it. And after I finished reading the first chapter, she was quiet. And I said, okay, let me read the second one. Because here I was kind of giggling away because I thought it was hilarious. And she said, no, 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 it's okay. I can take it from here. I said, no, no, let me read the second chapter. And she goes, no, it's okay. I can take it from here. She started reading it that summer. And then one night I went up to go to bed. It was really late. I'm such a night owl. I went up to go to bed and it was like 12:30 at night and I saw her room light on. And I said to her, I said, what are you doing still up? It's so late. You're supposed to go to sleep. And she was reading To Kill a Mockingbird. And she said, oh, I can't shut off the light yet. There's a mad dog coming. And I thought, okay, I got her. Okay, that's how good this book is. It is so good that it caught her. And it really changed her. Like now she's quite the reader and everything. She reads no problem and everything. But that one summer, it changed her, and it was with To Kill a Mockingbird. And the funny thing is, okay, with me, in confession time, growing up, a lot of the time, when the teachers would assign a book in the classroom, I wouldn't read it. I mean, I read. We were assigned which of the books? We were assigned Charles Dickens' Tale of Two Cities. Never finished it, never read it, because the teacher assigned it. And I was one of those kids. I mean, I read and read and read. I mean, I read lots of classics and everything. But if it was assigned in school, I wouldn't read it. To Kill a Mockingbird was the only exception, but that's because I had read it before it was assigned. And I already knew the story and I loved the story. So really, it's an amazing book. And it deserves to be a classic, even though it is absolutely condescending towards the African American, where the white people swoop in and they save the day. And that's a book that's being written for a white audience. Okay, because white people they want to feel like they're the heroes of the whole game. They want to show how noble they are and everything like that, which is understandable, I think. But African Americans would want the hero badge to be pinned on them. Okay. I hope you didn't get too offended by anything I said. Honestly, I'm just trying to be honest. I'm trying to keep it real. But I hope you found this useful, this tutorial, this book talk tutorial useful. And I hope you'll check out the other book talks and tutorials I'm going to do. I have a great time doing them. I love all these books. And you might notice that my tastes are very, very eclectic. And that's because I love all kinds of books set in all kinds of different cultures. Thank you very much.